He never spoke again after what he saw in that cave. When the rescue team finally pulled him out of the pitch-black cavern, 12 hours after he had gone missing, he was clawing at the walls with his fingernails, shredded to the bone, whispering nonsense in Latin, a language he didn't even speak. His name was Andrew Coltman, a 29-year-old amateur explorer from Derbyshire, England, and he was one of 3 people who, against every warning posted, decided to enter the Nutty Putty Caves in Utah after they were permanently sealed. There was a reason those caves were closed forever. Back in 2009, a man named John Edward Jones got wedged in an impossibly tight crevice 400 feet from the entrance. No matter what they tried, pulling, drilling, rappelling, he remained stuck upside down for over 27 hours before his body gave out. He suffocated. The cave was then sealed permanently, with his body entombed inside. Authorities blasted the path shut, and it was meant to be the end. But 10 years later, Andrew Coltman and 2 other thrill-seekers, Leon Arnett and Miles Hatcher, flew from the UK to Salt Lake City and took a hired jeep straight to the desert, determined to go inside. They brought gear, lights, and ropes, but no permits. They arrived at 3 a.m., broke the padlocks, and slipped inside undetected. Only 2 of them would come back. It was Miles Hatcher who later told the authorities what happened inside. He said Andrew was the first to descend into the narrow shaft, calling out that he wanted to reach the exact spot where John Jones had died. Miles didn't want to go further than the main chamber, but Andrew had insisted, saying they'd come too far to stop. "It's just stone," he said. "Stone and time. What's it gonna do?" But about 30 minutes after Andrew vanished into the lower crevice, Leon called down to him. No answer. Another 20 minutes passed, and then they heard it. A voice, but it didn't sound like Andrew. It was whispering something rhythmic and cold, almost like a chant. Miles thought it was a prank. Then the lights flickered and went out. Leon descended into the shaft with a backup headlamp, and he screamed 5 seconds later. Not a scream of pain, but of terror. Miles pulled the rope, but it went slack. That was when he fled. Andrew was found 12 hours later in the exact same place John Jones had died. Except he wasn't stuck. He was lying face up in the dirt with no gear, eyes wide open, lips torn from mumbling something no one could understand. Leon was never found. The cave was resealed, but Andrew never recovered. He lives in a psychiatric ward near Nottingham and hasn't spoken English since. And to this day, every 6 months, he wakes up in the middle of the night and writes a date on the wall with anything he can find, sometimes blood. So far, every date has matched the death of someone connected to the original cave ceiling. Nobody knows why. There's something truly unsettling about a smile held too long, especially when it belongs to someone who isn't supposed to be alive. In October of 2022, a video began circulating on the dark web showing a woman sitting silently in a hospital bed, smiling into the camera. She doesn't blink. She doesn't move. She doesn't speak. The video lasts 8 minutes and 44 seconds. At the end of the clip, a voice off-screen asks, "Are you still with us, Sarah?" And the woman blinks once. The video was traced to a decommissioned wing of the Holy Spirit Hospital in Detroit, Michigan. The wing had been shut down since 1995 due to multiple fire code violations and mysterious patient deaths. But according to local records, that bed, the very one in the video, belonged to Sarah Delaney, a former nurse at the hospital who went missing in 1989 after a suspected breakdown. She was declared legally dead in 1996. But the woman in the video, she looked identical to Sarah. Not older, not aged, identical. An investigation led by Private Detective Marcus Bell uncovered a disturbing timeline. Sarah had blown the whistle on illegal medical testing being done on terminal patients, unauthorized drug trials with substances that had never passed clinical review. In her notes, which Bell unearthed from a discarded filing cabinet found in the sub-basement, she referred repeatedly to something called Protocol 33. There are no medical trials under that name. But the documents show Sarah believed patients were being injected with a compound meant to reset cellular decay. In one of the last entries, she wrote, "Subject 22 hasn't spoken in 6 days. Just stares, still smiling, like it knows something. I think I've made a mistake. I took some home. No further notes followed. What's more horrifying is that when the hospital wing was raided, the bed in the video was empty. But the footage had been recorded only days earlier, time-stamped and verified. Forensic analysis of the room showed signs of recent activity: fresh fingerprints, traces of antiseptic, a coffee cup left warm, but no trace of Sarah. Investigators later matched the voice in the video to a retired surgeon named Dr. Evan Malrick. He died in 2004. How his voice appeared in a video recorded in 2022 remains unexplained. And yet, every year on October 17th, someone anonymously uploads a new clip of Sarah. Always in the same bed, always the same smile. A slow blink, and then silence. Here is a still frame from the third video, uploaded in 2023. Look closely at the mirror behind her. There's movement that doesn't match hers. They called it the Kavinsky broadcast. And for 41 minutes, a nationwide audience in Russia watched a man die in real time. Except no one knew it was real. The year was 2018, and a popular Moscow-based prankster and live stream host named Viktor Kavinsky had become a sensation for his over-the-top stunts and dark, satirical takes on state surveillance. His latest live stream was billed as the final broadcast, where he claimed he would confront a hidden government black site operating under the guise of a television repair facility. Thousands tuned in. It started with laughter. Kavinsky joked his way past the fence, documented the broken locks, and waved sarcastically at a nearby CCTV camera. The tone shifted the moment he walked through the rusted doors. The feed grew glitchy, audio cut in and out, but his voice, breathless and high-pitched, kept whispering something's here. Around the 20-minute mark, viewers could hear faint voices, echoes in Russian, asking, "Do you remember your number?" And, "Why are you still here?" Then came the alarms. Red lights flashing, doors slamming. Kavinsky ran down corridor after corridor, past rooms with chairs bolted to the floor, walls scratched with fingernails, photos of people with eyes burned out. The stream froze briefly at the 33-minute mark. When it returned, Kavinsky was sitting in one of the bolted chairs, not speaking, not moving, just staring. Someone off-screen said, "Tell them what you saw." Kavinsky didn't answer. The screen went black. Most viewers thought it was brilliant performance art until the next day, when Viktor Kavinsky's apartment was raided by police. He wasn't there. His last known location, pinged from his phone, was a 5-kilometer radius in the forest outside Rostov. The structure he had entered no longer existed. Satellite images show the building had been razed in 2002. But there's more. 3 days after the broadcast, another live stream appeared on Kavinsky's channel. No promotion, no notifications. It was just a black screen and a faint audio hum. After exactly 41 minutes, a voice whispered, "You watched." Then the stream ended. Everyone who had tuned in received a private message with coordinates. One user, Anton Myrov, a coder from St. Petersburg, went. He never returned. His car was found parked outside a radio tower 50 miles from the coordinates. The tower had been inactive since the fall of the Soviet Union. Inside the main control room, scratched into the wall, was a single word, "Prisutstvие," presence. No one has live-streamed from that account again. But the channel remains active, with one video titled Room 7 set to premiere. The date? March 12, 2030. Comments are disabled. There's a file that circulates on the dark web known only as AS106_archived MP4. No one knows who uploaded it. But once you watch it, your name ends up in the list. A real list, maintained by an anonymous account called 13 Doors. The file begins with static. Then a woman's voice calmly lists off a series of birth dates, names, cities. It lasts 4 minutes. Then the screen goes black. But every person who has checked the metadata confirms the same thing. The last name on the list is theirs. Nobody knows how it's updated. Nobody knows why. But in every case, 3 days after watching, the viewer receives a package. Always the same dimensions. Inside is a single, unmarked VHS tape and a photo. The photo is always of the viewer sleeping in their bed. Always from the same angle. Always time-stamped 2 nights prior. Authorities have dismissed it as an urban legend. But in 2021, a woman named Angela Peterson, a film student from Toronto, went missing after uploading a reaction video to AS106 Archive MP4. In the video, Angela laughs nervously and says, "Guess I'm next." She then opens the package on camera. She finds the photo, looks shocked, and then the feed cuts. The file has been removed from YouTube, but mirror uploads remain. If you find it, remember one thing: there's never been a fourth day. These are not stories meant to be retold lightly. These are not fiction, no matter how impossible they sound. These are the 3 places you cannot go, and the people who did. 1 wandered into darkness and came back no longer human. 1 watched the years vanish while the world forgot she was ever gone. And 1 broadcast his own disappearance live, while thousands watched in silence. Whatever you believe, coincidence, conspiracy, or something far stranger, one truth remains. Some places don't just take people, they wait, and when they finally open their doors again, they remember exactly who came last time. So what would you do if your name showed up in a video no one admits to making? Would you watch till the end? Would you go to the coordinates, or would you pretend you never saw anything at all? Which of these stories unsettled you the most, and why? Drop your theories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that weren't meant to be found.